The views expressed on this episode, as with all episodes of We Hate Your Baby Daddy, are based solely on our personal opinions and shit we heard in the streets.
The content here should not be taken as indisputable fact. This show is for entertainment purposes only, so enjoy and don't come for us.
Welcome back to another episode of We Hate Your Baby Daddy with Brandy.
Hello, hello, hello.
And we have a very special guest joining us today. Her name is Ella, and she is going to be sharing some stories with us about her baby daddy, their co-parenting situation, and what's going on with that. She's a friend of ours. We actually love the way that she tells a story. She's a good storyteller, so we're really excited to have her on this episode. Ella, say hi.
Hi, thanks for having me. Super excited. And if you mean good storyteller by like ADHD all over the place, then okay.
No, it is good. It's hilarious. Like sometimes she'll tell a story and I'll just be crying laughing. Like, why are you so funny? And then before we jump into that, I wanted to tell our listeners that we have just recently launched our t-shirts. So if you go to our merch website, we have our t-shirts. They're size inclusive. They're very cute. Black tees with our pink logo designed by the Red Scare. So get one, check it out, get a bunch, get one for all your friends and family. Okay, so now back into what's going on with Ella. So how did you meet this man who we're gonna call Emo Daddy?
Frangelico. Oh yeah, emo daddy. We'll do
Emo
that.
Daddy. He doesn't drink Frangelico, we asked. But he's emo as fuck. So,
Yes, this is true. So I met him when I just turned 22. I just got out of a relationship, which this is already a great recipe for disaster. And I was on Tinder, doom scrolling in a hotel in Chicago on New Year's Eve. Um, and I was Actually, no, sorry, it wasn't New Year's Eve. It was on my birthday. And we matched, but I was back in Vegas. And since he lived in Chicago, I was like, oh, he's super sweet. And he just answered a lot of my questions differently because I have these special questions that I ask people that I'm going to date. And then I determine whether I want to talk to them or not.
what are
And the
the
questions
questions?
are, do you like
Wait,
cats or
wait, wait.
dogs?
How old was he, first of all?
Oh, he was 24.
Okay, so you were 21, he was 24.
Yeah, I just turned 22. So we're
Oh,
about 3
22.
years.
Okay. Okay, questions. What were they?
So the first one was, do you like cats or dogs? The second one is, are you a serial killer? And the third one is, where would you take me on our first date? Um, Very forward. This tells you a lot about a person.
Bitch,
So
a serial
Interesting
killer.
sandwich you got there.
so I normally like to go on dates with people that say they like dogs, and then yes, they're a serial killer, but something funny, like yes, I'm a serial killer, but only on Tuesdays, during a blood moon. I love stuff like that. I just think we have very similar senses of humor if they say something like
I
that.
am
And then
weak. So, so what if he wasn't? You know what? Never mind. Don't let me interrupt. You keep telling us. Go on, Ella.
so yeah, so those are my three questions. And he said he liked dogs and he's allergic to cats, which works because I don't personally um vibe with cats that great. And then the second question, he was like, no, I would never hurt anybody, blah, 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 which is kind of not my vibe, but he was just super sweet. And then the third question, he said that he would take me, I don't know, somewhere really nice and do something romantic. It was fine. So I was like, okay,
How is
cool.
that?
Like,
Wait, sorry. How is
Time
that not
out.
your
Wait,
vibe?
him not hurting people. You want him to hurt people? That's your vibe?
no,
Come
that's
on.
not my vibe. It's just a sense of humor. Like, I think it's really funny when
Uh,
guys are like, oh, haha, like, yes, I'm a serial killer, but,
you
you
love a red
know,
flag.
only, yes,
But them niggas don't joke when they say that.
That's a
okay,
good
but
point.
Men don't have sense of humor.
sometimes this is true, but so far I've made it. You guys know I'm a little bit reckless. Okay, this provides me excitement.
Good point. Yeah, you do be, yeah, you do be pretty
I live
reckless.
vicariously through you. I can't be
I
mad.
do too. Yeah, because I'm like half the shit you be doing. I'm like, I personally could not. Like, I would just pass away gently. Like, and where did you get these questions? It just pops up in your head. Like,
Yes, that was just in my head. I
oh,
was like, these are great vetting questions. And I've only ever dated online, so I started doing this when I was
really?
hmm
I
I've
forget you
never
guys
met
are so much
someone
younger than
outside of
me.
high school. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Um,
How old are you right
so
now?
that's all. Sorry.
How old are you right now?
Now I'm 30.
Oh, babies. Little babies. I'm 33, about to be 34, so I'm like the grandma of the group.
Oh my gosh, not even. Wisdom wise, yes. Age wise, definitely not.
Damn. But go on. So then what?
So I was like, okay, perfect. I just got out of a relationship. Let's fly to Chicago to meet this man that I've never met before because this is how all fairy tales happen. And I flew there. Someone walked me to the car that I know personally. I took a picture of the guy's ID and sent it to my friend, let everybody know where I was going. We went to TGI Fridays and had food there because that's so classy. And then I stayed the weekend with him and we went to the zoo and we went to the club and parts of it was a hot mess, to be honest, but it was really
Why?
fun. It,
Did we have like a mattress protector?
oh
In all
God. So,
honesty, you could have just lied to them because they don't know anything about female anatomy. I just been like, oh, I was just so turned on last night, and you just would have been like, yeah, yeah, I did that. Like they wouldn't even have like questioned it or like went to smell it. Like men are dumb. You just
right.
gotta call their
This,
bluff.
I should have said it was delayed come for sure. So
You wouldn't have
um,
noticed or care. You would just like said that as a bragging point. Like, yeah, she did it in her sleep
Oh my God.
in a long stream.
We're like 2 minutes into the story. I'm already crying. So, so I'm
so,
sorry. And you were gonna gloss
Dehydrated,
right
then
over
yeah.
this.
okay.
So,
So after being mortified that I peed in this man's bed as a grown ass woman, I was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm leaving. Like, thanks for the weekend. This was super fun. Nice rebound time. I'm outie. And I was packing my stuff, like, yeah, so nice to meet you. Like, see you later. I'm gonna get an Uber. Like, maybe you can give me a ride. And he was sitting in his chair and he was like, you're literally just gonna pee in my bed and then like leave? And I was like, well, I don't really know what to do in this
what do you want
situation.
me
Like,
to do? Like, do I look like a janitorial servant? They can figure it
Wait,
out.
was it his bed or was it a hotel bed? Because that's a big difference. Like, what do you want me to do?
right. It's his um Tempur-Pedic bed. So, that's
Yeah, hopefully he had a mattress cover at the very least, like the
he
protector.
didn't.
I would just
He's a
shame him.
man.
I'm like, you broke ass bitch. Why don't you have no mattress protector?
Turn it around on
That's
them.
$30.
Yeah,
That's
this
thirty
is your
dollars at
fault.
Target.
We don't
Broke
make
motherfucker.
mistakes.
Call Stanley Steamer, and I would have took my purse and left.
I am
You
weakness.
didn't know if I was incontinent. Now you're shaming me for my medical condition. Fuck you. And I would have called an
Oh
Uber.
yeah.
I have no shame.
This is my first time meeting you, and you're shaming me like this because I had to urinate. Like,
Oh gosh.
They wanted
So
to piss on the bed. It wasn't my fault.
step your game up, broke bitch. Oh, I'm sorry.
so
Please
If
continue.
your dick was big enough, it would have
no,
plugged up.
don't worry. So I mean
Because
that's
you
pretty much
started making shit up at that point. Like
Just
just
say
Uno
anything.
reverse all around. I gaslight you now.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm the gaslighter now.
so I don't know. He was just so sweet about it. He was like, it's not a big deal. Like, I'll clean it up and we can still have a good weekend and blah, blah, blah. And I can't remember what we did after that, but we still had a good weekend. And then he brought me back, I think, 2 days later to the airport and I flew home. And then from there, we had like a really spicy, fun relationship until it wasn't.
What happened?
I mean, we just both grew up together. We were both babies when we got together and we grew up together. I was drinking a lot, to be honest, and there was a lot of other traumatic things that happened while we were together, um, that were just hard to navigate. And so after dealing with that, he decided that he didn't want to be with me anymore, but too late. It was time for me to have a baby because he waited until I was 8 months pregnant to leave me, and that was fun.
I remember you told us that it was like he broke up with you, and then the next day it was like your maternity shoot.
Yes, literally. Oh my gosh. And I really wanted to go to the shoot, and I wanted him to be there kind of, but not really. But I didn't want to drive myself to the middle of the desert because they were out in the desert at a lake bed. So we went and did this really awkward photo shoot of him looking at me like he loves me and all this stuff. The photographer doesn't know. So he's telling us to do all this stuff. And the pictures are gorgeous. But when I look at them, I'm like, wow, like you're really just fine being in these pictures just after you broke my heart a
That's
day
kind of
before.
diabolical, that timing and everything. It's like you knew about the shoot, you couldn't wait till afterward, or maybe just don't break up with your 8 months pregnant baby mama at all. Like how how long into the relationship did you get pregnant?
4 years.
4 years. Oh wow, I did not know that.
I was 26. So yeah.
And
Mhm.
then
And that's when they do it to you.
what'd you say?
I said that's when they do it to you once you're comfortable.
Yeah, I got pretty early on. But I was gonna ask about, oh, what was his reaction when you told him you were pregnant?
Oh, he was not about it. He was not happy at all. And I think that he already premeditated that he didn't want to be with me in the beginning. But I had told him in the beginning, like, hey, if you don't want to do this, let me know now because I can get my mind around that and decide what I want to do for me, like not for
Right.
us. Don't wait until I don't really have a choice anymore or any options. Um, because that's just ridiculous. Like I bought my house literally the same day I closed. I'm sorry, I bought my house the same day that I gave birth. So I closed on my house and gave birth on the
Oh
same
my
day.
God.
'Cause I was just trying to like get shit done and make sure that we were going to have a good place to live, me and my daughter. And I mean, I will be the first one to tell you that I am your sign to not get back with your baby daddy because of course like we're back together now 2 years later.
But it's been good, right?
Yeah, for the most part. Ooh.
So why did you even warn us?
Why did I warn?
Why
Oh,
did you
because
warn us
I
that
would
it was
recommend.
okay?
No, I'm good where I'm at, but if you're out and you're comfortable where you're at, just stay there. Stay comfortable being a baddie on your own. I just feel like it's so much less complicated. I do love him to pieces, but there's so much trauma that we have to still work through. And that is consistently like brought up in our relationship in different ways. Like we're working on blending our households again. So I mean, right before this podcast, I was crying. That was fun.
Aw. Yeah, you guys
Yeah,
have
but
some toxic shit going on. What is it about him that like attracted you and like keeps you coming back? 'Cause I know he's good looking, right? I
yeah, he
mean,
is. But I wasn't crying because of him. I was talking
oh.
to him, but I wasn't crying because of him. Um, we always have like a really, really good time together, and I'm so comfortable with him doing absolutely anything and everything. I dated a decent amount when we weren't together, and there was some cool guys, but I can never achieve like the level of comfort that I have with him. And I love that. I love the way that he is with my daughter 90% of the time. Mistakes happen, but I don't trust other people around me and my daughter. And it's partly like a security thing. So if I wasn't with him, like honestly, I would just prefer to be by myself and just date casually than bring someone else like permanently into my life. Um, but he's a really good person. He has really big dreams. He's just a little bit selfish, honestly, and he knows that and he works on it. And it's been interesting seeing the progress that he's taken when I explained to him, like, you realize that sometimes you say things that are very triggering. Like just the way you say things is unnecessary. And so he's really worked on that lately, and he's been through a lot recently too. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's very relatable, like you saying like how hard it is to bring a new person into the picture. Like, I wasn't planning on having a boyfriend. It just kind of happened. And obviously, Drunky Crash, he like lost his shit about that. And it was difficult, because I'm like, I just had this baby. Like, I don't want to just like bring random people around her. But, he's not random. Like, and he's been around her since she was like very young. And so, she kind of looks at him like she knows him, she loves him. And so, it has been an easier transition, but I can understand like you and him, I think we're probably more co-parenting for a while. And so you just got to that level of comfort. Like I get that.
yeah. I mean, with your situation, it's beautiful though, because he is very positively involved. People that I dated weren't really that positively involved with my daughter. They would buy her things and they would see her occasionally, but it never got to a point where I would feel super comfortable with them around her. And that's just because I feel like they didn't really take the initiative. Like your guy seems to take a lot of initiative, which,
He
you don't always.
does, yeah. He buys like I mean, not just like buy stuff for her, but like he pays like a lot of bills and stuff around the house, like if she needs diapers, wipes, baby groceries, like he buys all of that, which that's really important to me because it shows that you're not just trying to take care of me, you also have to take care of my daughter. She's part of me. So, yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, we have a lot of the same ideals as far as like raising our daughter. Um, and we're kind of the same type of crazy in a way. And it just makes things really fun. It also can be a little bit stressful at times, but as we've gotten older, things have smoothed out a lot. Our last hurdle is just blending our houses because we both own homes now. And my biggest stressor now is the mental load of being a mom in general, but now being a mom in two places. So I'm like, I have to take care of everything at my house and your house, basically, because men just kind of take a back seat. They're like, oh, you just tell me what to do. But if I have to tell you every single thing that you need to do or ask you, that's still a lot of work on my part. And
Yeah,
he
that's a lot of the mental load of like making a list basically every day to help manage two households. That's too much.
Right. So that's the biggest stressor now is just trying to get everything in one place because I'm very much over that. So he gets along with my family and I get along with his family. But as far as his family goes, I feel like I see his family a lot more than he sees mine. He's never actually met, he's never gone to where my family is from, like most of my family. So we're working on that. Actually, in April, we're going to go visit them. We were supposed to go in January, but we messed some stuff up because I did tell him that that's something that I want to prioritize now that we're back in a relationship.
Are you guys gonna like get married, do you think?
That's, he says that he wants to do that if we can have a like amazing dream wedding or something. And I don't know. He says he
Don't
wants
do
to
it.
buy, yeah, like a really
Don't do
expensive ring and all of these things. And I feel like I'm good where I'm at. We have everything that's pretty much separate. Let's say shit hit the fan again. I have my house. I have a place to go. I already have everything put together that I need. I don't think that it would come to that, but if it did, I wouldn't be out in the dark. And if it has to be a divorce at this point, I feel like that would make things a
It would
lot
just be
more
20
messy.
times worse. Yeah, it's almost like,
Right.
what's the point if you've been doing that? And maybe you guys can just like, exchange rings and you like have cute little rings, do a little photo shoot. You have to do the paperwork.
That's what I mean. I think that would be nice as long as I get my Tiffany's heart cut ring. We could work with that.
Oh my God, when I was like a child bride, when I was 25, that is what I wanted was like a not Tiffany's, but like a heart cut ring. So my ex-husband got me. was like the center stone was like a round cut, but then it had two like side stones and they were heart cut. I was like, oh, and I grew up and I was like, ew, heart cut. No, that's cute though. So one thing I wanted to ask, so your baby daddy is white, right? Just like ours, and you're black,
Hmm.
just like us. Do you ever feel like race or anything ever like comes into the dynamic in any like weird ways?
I always tell him that I've probably disappointed all of my ancestors by becoming a house slave, actually.
You are not a house slave.
I do literally
He would
say
be
that.
out in the field. Come on.
No,
Wow.
she's a little on the lighter side. I don't know. She maybe in between the house and field, there'd be like a shed.
But I
Um,
do feel like sometimes race does come into it. Because he is Italian and Hispanic, but he passes for white. And sometimes I'll just try to explain things to him in general. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, Hispanic people are so discriminated against now. Like, they're basically like the new slaves and blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, are you,
no.
wait, like, are we serious right now? Let's not talk about it.
He's canceled.
Triple canceled.
I did not know. Does he speak Italian or Spanish?
No, so that's why I'm like, you can't even say any of that. I speak more Spanish
Yeah,
than he does.
yeah.
Okay, to properly assess this, what type of Italian is he, and what type of Hispanic is he? Because this has to get really specific. I'm sorry.
So, his great grandparents came from Italy. So I don't know. That leaves him, I mean, they were Italian on both sides. So then his dad is full-blooded Hispanic, but they're from Mexico. I don't know what type, like what part of Mexico.
So,
Okay, that's fair.
your baby daddy's Italian. What part is he? Ghetto part?
Sicilian.
Sicilian, yeah, the
Yeah,
ghetto part.
they Negroes. Like to the
The
point
Negroes
that
of Italy.
yeah, like my mom for Christmas was like, she's like, what should I get him for? I'm gonna get him a chain, and she got him like a silver chain, and he opened it and said, oh my god, I love it, I love it.
Ma, I love it. Now make the sauce for the pasta,
Oh
Ma.
yeah, no, that was like my second training in being like a girlfriend. I was in the kitchen making meatballs. The
Oh
secret is
my
to
God.
use pork and veal.
That's what
Yum.
my baby daddy likes too, actually.
See. I don't think he's Sicilian though. He might be. I don't know. He's kind of like a peacock. I've seen him before.
A
Yes,
peacock.
Little
yes.
peacock man. His
Is
height
Um,
that
terrifies me.
is peacock
but
like a
he,
slur for Italians?
No, there's a lot of slurs for Italians that I know because I know them, but that's not one of them.
Oh, what does that mean?
No, he's just like he likes to preen his feathers and walk around
Oh
and oh look at
yeah, he
me.
does look like he looks like he could be like a fuckboy.
oh
Actually, he is
yeah,
or was.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot that whole conversation we had that one time that we won't talk about here.
I have
We don't
too
need to
many
see that. We
stories.
don't need to see that.
We don't need to talk
Nobody.
about that in mixed company.
We don't talk about Bruno or the other thing that starts with a B. But
Ah, we.
um,
I'm a we.
Swallowed up.
Oh no! Stop.
Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you ever
Swallow.
gone through a time of swallowing? He
um,
has.
so I mean, now we're here. Now it's good.
Do
Shit,
you
probably all
have?
of ours are. These guys are creeps. I don't know.
Yeah, my baby daddy fucking sucks. But do you have a positive message for all of our baby mamas that you would like to put out into the world for them?
I mean, I think my piece of wisdom was a little bit earlier. Like, don't backslide. Don't do it.
But if you
But
end up backsliding, it's not the end of the world.
no, it is not. It's not the end of the world. Like, there are exceptions to the rule for sure, but if you have a good co-parenting relationship, something that I really valued was I knew when my daughter was at his house, she was good. And I had so much time to feed into myself what I wanted. Like it almost made me a better mom because I had an outside relationship. I had my own time. I had a lot more money. And, those things are nice. Now, everything is just the both of us. So we're always with her together, unless he's at his house or I'm at my house. So it's like I almost have to choose. And I don't want to feel that way. Sometimes I do just need a break from my little one. And it's nice to be able to have that option. So I would say just prioritize your self care either way, whether you're with your baby daddy or trying to be or with somebody else, you know, don't prioritize them, just prioritize your child and your self care. And then wherever they fall in afterwards is where they fall in, because that's where he's at, like after the self care and the baby.
That's a great message. I mean, I feel like I don't do that enough. Prioritizing my self-care. Like I put my daughter above everything, and they always tell you not to do that, but you don't realize it as you're doing it. When you're like, wow, I haven't even like had a moment to like take a shower or have a thought. That's that's not about baby stuff because I've just been so focused on baby stuff. So that is a good message. I appreciate that.
Thanks. It'll get easier as she, can just sit outside the shower while you take a shower once you trust her not to unalive herself and all that.
She has before, but she kept trying to like put her hand in the water. I'm like, baby, please, like, like just stay there, play with your toys. She's like, mm
Gotta love them.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. This has been such a fun interview. Where can our listeners find you on social media?
I'm gonna keep that information redacted just because I told everybody that I peed in a grown man's bed. But I've appreciated the opportunity and this has been so fun.
That is fair. That is fair because we were not planning on talking about that before when I asked you for your social. So I'm glad we asked at the end because if we gave that at the beginning, would have changed the whole dynamic of the interview. So I appreciate your candor, your honesty, willingness to be open and share with our listeners. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Bree and Dee Dee. You guys have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
All right. So yeah, that was our interview with Ella. She is a dear friend of ours, fan of the show, great friend, great storyteller, as you could hear. And she has told us some wild anecdotes about her baby daddy. So we just wanted to share that with some of our listeners. You're not alone. We all have some wild, crazy situations with our baby daddy. Maybe not like that, but we all have our own versions, right? But now let's go ahead and get into Christopher Brown. So,
Ew. Literally, I was imagining like the SpongeBob dun dun dun, or like the foghorn sound after his name, like.
he gives me the creeps. Like, we'll get into why. So, Christopher Maurice Brown, he was born on May 5th, 1989, in Tappahannock, Virginia. And I just want to clarify that is not Northern Virginia. I don't know him. And I don't know Trey Songz either. So don't ask. I'm from Northern Virginia. Virginia's a huge state. I can't even tell you where Tappahannock is. It's probably in bumfuck. Anyway, so some people know of Chris Brown as Crack Brown because I call him that and I started spreading that around. So some people are saying that, as Trump would say. Another baby daddy that we covered.
Many such cases of crack brown. Many such cases.
And I don't want to make light of the fact that like he has had addiction issues. He never mentioned that he did crack. He mentioned other things he was addicted to, but I'm like, he has that look of like, there's crack.
He's on crack or meth. Like, look at him.
It's got to
That's a
be one of
stimulant.
those
That's a stimulant whooping his ass.
something is. Sometimes you see him, he looks almost as emaciated as like Party City Skeleton. Like he looks like he hasn't eaten in
Like,
days.
but no, it's eating him alive.
He's got a different kind of rot.
Yeah, his is like a pharaoh's curse. We don't know what's going on with him.
Oh no, he picked up a scarab beetle, and one time he's performing in the desert. Let's start another rumor about Crackbro.
Yeah, no, he like pissed off somebody's ancestor. Somebody's like one fifth Egyptian or something, and it's just like, oh, I'll show you.
I'm so dead. It was like DJ Khaled or something.
Did you
So
know that DJ Khaled's original name was DJ Arab Attack, but he changed it after 9/11?
I did not know that.
Dead ass serious. He was like, this is not good to scream after promotions. Because he's like, DJ Khaled.
We
No one
the
wants to hear that
best.
effing. Nobody wants to hear DJ Arab Attack.
I'm
No.
terrified.
Like in the club after 9/11, you'd be like,
Hell
oh.
no. So Chris Brown, I really don't want to. I feel like some of our listeners are gonna get really pissed off by this episode. I just want to warn you guys, it is not gonna be complimentary of him. I don't like him. We hate him. He's a baby daddy. But let me just give you some background about Chris Brown. So he is known for being an R&B singer. He also dances a lot. He sometimes acts. I can't name anything that he has acted in off the top of my head. Can you?
I know he was in that one like BET Christmas movie, but I think
Oh
recently
yes.
he would be like doing like Tubi shit now, like the rest of them. They can't like get like a real job because nobody wants him like on set. He's a danger to himself and others. Mostly the
Girl.
others, because that little thing's got hands. I don't want to call him what I usually call him because Bree knows what I usually call him because that's what he looks like. But
I always
I'll
call him a
refrain.
Chipotle bag because he's like, that light color with the tattoos, so he looks like a Chipotle bag.
He
Is that
looks like
racist?
the no, it's not racist.
No, because we're
I mean,
black.
it's
I
just his
mean,
color. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's why I never got tattoos.
I never thought about that. So weird.
Yeah, no, that's why I was just like, that's not a good look.
So about his situation with his baby mamas and children. So he has three children that we know of by three different women. A hoe. He's a hoe. Didi, what are his kids' names?
Here we go. So the first one is Royalty Brown. Not that bad, not that bad, not a bad start. Next is Aiko Katori Brown. Not sure if that's supposed to be Japanese. The spelling's all off, but that's with again, we're not sure if it's Japanese or not. Amika or Amika Harris, a model. Previously, Royalty is by Nia Guzman Amay, was a model and maybe not sure about that.
You were on mute towards the end. Here, you know what? Let's do this again. Bloop, 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 bloop. Back up.
Okay,
Okay.
so number one, we have Royalty Brown. That's a daughter with Nia Guzman Amay. That's a model and also possibly a nurse. Got a question mark there. Not sure about that. So that's a CNA, I'm guessing, because that's a nurse question mark. Definitely not an RNA. I don't know. Second is Aiko Katori Brown. I'm not sure if that's Japanese because that's not spelled right if that's Japanese. That's with, again, I'm not sure if it's Japanese because it's spelled wrong. Amika Harris, who is a model. Got to look up those people. We know he has a thing for the Blasians, but we
He
don't know what type
does.
of flavor Blasian this is. But that's not how you spell Aiko. So I don't know if that's Aiko or
It might
Aiko.
be Aiko. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It's hurting my head is what it's doing. So next we got hmm, lovely symphony with an I, like the candy bar. Brown with Diamond Brown, a model and an influencer.
Isn't that kind
Hope
of
there's no
interesting?
relation.
Yeah, Diamond Brown, Chris Brown. It's like there was no point where you're like, maybe we should like check 23andMe, make sure we're not related, but they didn't.
I mean, his type is vaguely Asian looking and light skinned. So as long as he can squint at you, and he's sober enough that he can tell that, you're probably going to get impregnated and stalked and hit. So
You just gotta get hit
you
with that light skin squint.
you just gotta know how to duck and weave. So good luck with
Okay.
that.
So
Oh
I
shit,
had
I'm
mentioned
fucked.
you would.
I said like Like you'd be fucked. If you're like in the vicinity of this dude, he's got an arm length. Like that dude's got like a chimp arm length about him. Have you ever seen him like dance around? That's why he can dance
Yes,
so
he's
well.
lanky.
Yeah, you'd be fucked. I thought about it. I'm like, that man's got reach. Should have been
You
a
gotta
boxer.
stay. You just gotta stay out of his reach, and you'll be okay. Um,
He's gonna crump up next to you. That's the danger. You won't see it coming. Remember how he like danced up next to that girl that didn't know that she was behind him in that video? Yo, he's like,
no.
yo, and she was like walking and like he was like, I don't know your name, but excuse me, miss.
Oh, yeah, it's terrifying.
And yeah,
Saw
that's
you
how he
from
gets you.
across the room where I can reach you with my long ass light skin reach. I know that song.
It's
That's not
horrifying.
how it goes, but I know it.
That's scarier than Ike Turner. I'm sorry, because he would give you warning. Or like Michael Jackson's dad, they gave you fair warning. Chris, you just don't know what's going to set that man off.
Exactly. And we will get into that because so I had
By the way, in
mentioned
this episode, I'm not letting it off that he's a domestic abuser because this is like a known thing in his
no, we
record.
have
We're
a
not letting
huge
that go.
list of all of the things that he has done that we will get to because it's a lot. It's a long list. And I'm like, his fans, it's like they only focus on that one thing that we will also talk about. But it's like there's a list of things. It's not
He ain't
normal.
stopped. No, this is pathological. This dude's fucked up.
He's diabolical. And so, I had mentioned that this is going to be a controversial episode because for some reason, Chris Brown, he's a controversial person. He has this chokehold over Black women that we just do not understand. We talked about this when we were talking about doing this episode. Like, he's also the type of person who fights with his baby mamas over child support, which is something I'll never respect. As you guys know, if you listen to like maybe our last episode or 2 episodes ago, whatever, um, how my baby daddy is being petty about child support. Um, I cannot respect that. Pay for your fucking kids. He's an international celebrity. He has millions and millions of dollars. Pay for your fucking kids. He fell out with Nia Guzman, the first baby mama, because they had a dispute over the child support. Like, just pay it. But one thing I found really funny when I was doing research for this episode, so he has an ex-girlfriend that he is like obsessed with, and he cheated on her with his first baby mama and had Royalty Brown on her. He had a baby on her. And her name was Karuchi Tran. She broke up with him because she's like, well, if you're out here having babies on me, why do I want to be with you? And she just dumped him and he never got over it. Like he's still to this day not over it. And this was in like 2013, 2014. After that, he went back and forth with so this is like two women he didn't have babies with was Karuchi and Rihanna. He went back and forth between them for a while, on and off. And he did physically abuse both of them. And as we were talking about earlier, for some reason, people only talk about what he did to Rihanna, and I think it's because we saw the photos of how badly she was beaten up. And I mean, yeah, she since forgave him and they did rekindle the relationship briefly. They worked on her album and stuff together. Back in 2009, so he would have been like 20, because I was 19 in 2009. And so again, I don't know him, but I did see him in Richmond. I was going to school down there and he was doing community service. So he's like scooping horse shit and like cleaning up on the side of the road. And that was a spectacle to behold, right? And it's like, Chris Brown, what are you doing here cleaning up horse shit in Richmond, Virginia? You're not even from here. Anyway, so we saw the photos of what he did to Rihanna, and yes, she did forgive him. People are like, oh, he was only 20 years old, blah, blah, blah. But Karuchi literally she was granted a 5-year restraining order against Chris Brown. And I'm like, people don't talk about it. Did you know about that?
I was aware of it. I was aware of his stalking tendencies with Karuchi because I remember like there was like a lot of paparazzi photos around that time. Literally like stands up like a literal like silverback gorilla when she's like getting out of cars and like the pretty dress is just like sitting there in the background, like hunched up with his fists in his hands, like rubbing his hands like a cartoon villain. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? Aren't they broken up? And be like, yeah, he's just following her around. And I'm like, okay. But like, you know what I think? I think Chris Brown has a very good publicist. I think he has a very good what is it, public relations team. So they don't let a lot of his bullshit get out unless you search for it. Like it's not all out in the air like a lot of other people's would be. But yeah, not surprised that she had a restraining order. I think I knew of that, but I didn't know that it got granted for 5 fucking years. But his with his behavior, not surprised at all. He's a fucking creep. He's a gross asshole.
And so I think we've talked about this in past episodes. Judges don't just grant you a restraining order, especially a 5-year restraining order. Like there has to be some proof of, the fact that you would be fearing for your life if this person approaches you. And she had text messages from him threatening to beat her up and kill her and her friends. Let me say that again. Beat her up and kill her and her friends. So text messages threatening that. He also had punched her in the past, punched her in the stomach, and pushed her down the stairs in the past. And this is something a lot of physical abusers do. They'll punch you in the stomach, places where people won't see. You'll see that with like Cassie and Diddy. Like he would, if he did hit her in the face, he would then send her away to like an island to recover and stuff. Because they're in the public eye. They know that if you can visually see the bruises, more people are gonna have a problem with you. I think he realized that after Rihanna, and he's like, "Oh, never making that mistake again. I'm just gonna punch people in the fucking abdomen." Like, he's crazy, but he
I
knows
would
what he's
also
doing.
like to add, do you know like their height difference, like their literal size difference? Crucci is 5 feet even. Chris Brown is a 6 foot tall, heavily muscled, heavily trained, working out like at least 6 hours a day man.
And so people talk shit about Rihanna saying like, "Oh, well, when he beat her up, she also admitted that she started and she hit him too." I don't care, like, when people say that, it's like she is not anywhere near as strong as Chris Brown. There was no way she was going to inflict the type of damage to him that he did to her. He is a violent abuser. He only beats up women. You never see him getting into fights with men. He has this beef with Quavo because Quavo briefly dated Karrueche Tran, and he kept threatening the whole of Migos, roll up, everybody roll up. And then you saw, like a couple weeks ago, they were sitting next to each other at a fashion show, and neither of them said anything to each other. So where's that energy for all your girlfriends towards Quavo? You don't have that because he's a man.
I remember TMZ kept reporting that he would just run away from fights and stuff. Like there would be shootouts or whatever looking for him, and he would just run the other way. I'm like, where's that big man attitude now? But like I've dealt with like a lot of men like that in like real life, where like they'll have that big macho guy attitude with me. When it comes to like other men or like other people that they're scared of, they're like meek as lamb. So I'm like, oh, where did all that macho oompa go? It's all gone now. Like you can't protect yourself now, but you can use all that on me. Like, okay, cool.
That's honestly how my baby daddy acts because, he's all big, roided up, and he'll get like all aggressive with me, but he will talk shit about my boyfriend. And, but he will never, I don't think he would ever actually do anything to him. And so funny, I was talking to my mom about that today, and she said that straight up. She was like, "This bark is bigger than his bite." Like, she was like, the height difference between the two of them. She's like, I think,
Yeah.
she's like, the Red Scare would be looking down at him, like, so are you gonna do something? My mom was like, I don't
Like,
care how
what you
much weight
doing,
he
little
lifts.
man?
Little man, put fist away.
Oh my god. But no, Chris Brown literally in every single, there was like a spat of like when he was fully on the pipe, he would just go out to bars and stuff, just fighting with people. But he would
Women,
fight in proxy, not with women, just like with other men, but he would fight in proxy. He would start a fight, never finish the fight because he would let his bodyguards deal with it. Like he's such a pussy, honestly. Like that's real punk behavior.
he
Oh
is.
wait, let me not say that because he'll actually fight me, a
He
5 foot
will.
woman.
He won't fight you. He'll fight me by proxy. He'll have a bodyguard come to my house in Virginia and fight me. He'll
No, I don't want him to pull up in my house with a Karuchi stick.
be like, Karuchi, like, you know. One of the guys from One Direction, Zayn, he had a song called "Back to Sleep." And Chris Brown was on the remix, and for some reason in the middle of the song he goes Marucci, he just yells her name out, and I'm like, it's crazy to think that when that song came out, she actively had that restraining order against him. I'm like, feel like that should have been in violation of the restraining order. Don't
That
put
would make
my
my
name,
stomach drop.
don't put my name in songs that everyone's gonna hear. Like, creepy.
Yeah, everything about him is just thrown. Like some, they said that something happened to him when he was like a little kid, but every man says that to excuse their bad kid, miserable childhood or whatever. But like, I feel like not a lot, but pretty much all abusive men say that like, oh, I had a bad childhood, my mom wasn't there, or my mom was there too much. And it's just like you can't
Right.
keep saying that because like
We've all had things.
not even that. I know women that have worse childhoods. They don't go I don't know, like terrorizing people for what they went through. I don't do that to anybody. My childhood sucked. My adulthood
Yeah,
sucked.
I don't go around punching people in the club, so um we have a list here that we compiled of known Chris Brown incidents. Dee, would you like to read it?
The fact that this man has to have a list. Okay.
It's
One
long.
time he one time he smashed a window and walked off the set of a Robin Roberts interview because she asked him a question he didn't like instead of just asking her to move on, which is insane. But also, I would also like to add that he showed the display of anger to a black interviewer and not to anybody else. Because imagine if that was anybody else, I don't think he would have hopped that hard. He wouldn't have had no bark for him. He stole a woman's phone because she took a photo of him. He shoved a woman in a nightclub and messed up her right knee. Like this man has monkey strength. I'm sorry. Like this dude is Planet of the Apes. That's all I see when I look at him. Like he's angry. He's unleashed and he's out to hurt you. He shoved a woman. There's a lot of shoving in
There's
this.
a
There's
lot
so
of
many.
shoving. He's
He
big
shoved.
on the shoving.
I'm telling you, this is Planet of the Apes. He shoved a woman off his tour bus and copped a third-degree assault charge in 2015. He stole a different woman's phone in 2016 and punched her in the face to add insult to injury or
I'm
injury to
sorry, it's
insult.
not. I want to clarify, I'm not laughing because, like, this is not funny. This is terrible that he is like this and does this to people. It's just like, why are you stealing people's phones? You're a celebrity. People are going to take pictures of you. Stay in the house, crazy.
Crack. It's that
It's
crack
crack.
brain.
It's crack brown.
It's crack or meth. The CIA is watching you, and I'm going to kick your ass.
You're the
Like
CIA. He's gonna
Chris
roll up to
in.
my house. I live really close to the CIA headquarters, so he's gonna be like, is he close enough? Boom!
He threatened to beat up his own tour manager, which is hilarious.
A woman, of course.
Oh yeah. He threatened a woman with a gun in his house in 2018, which is literally like fear factor. I would genuinely think that would be the end of my life. Think of being a woman alone with Chris Brown with a gun.
Gun-toting Chris Brown. Mm-mm.
I would just be done. I'm like, all right, well, it's nice knowing y'all.
I'd be like in Scooby-Doo, when they're trying to run. It's like like, trying to get away. Like
It's not funny, but this man is like a third level threat.
he's like a video game villain. He's like a GTA storyline, escaping Chris Brown's mansion.
He's like that one crackhead off what, like GTA 5, except black and supposedly handsome, but he's not handsome to me. He's
No,
he's not. And he's
scary.
also been accused of rape at least twice. And as far as we know, he hasn't been convicted, but we believe the women because like honestly, that dude will kick your fucking ass. I wouldn't accuse him of anything if I had if I didn't have solid proof. He'd kick your ass. I wouldn't be it
That's
wouldn't be
very
worth it.
true. It's like people always say when it comes to celebrities and rape, they're always like, why would he do that? He can get anybody he wants, which is such a disgusting thing to say because it's like people don't rape because they don't have the options to not rape. People rape because it's a power thing. They don't see a woman as people. A rapist will see just like a sleeping woman minding her own business laying there. Be like, well, I'm taking that. That's what they do. It's disgusting. It's terrifying. And for him to have been accused of it at least twice, I mean, we've read you a list of things that he has done. These have all been to women. There's no list of things he has done to men.
He's a predator. Not even that. It's just that he definitely gives me of the vibe that wants to take something instead of having something openly given to him, and just like seeing and interacting with his fans, the I'm sorry, the desperation of his fans. I can see him skipping over them and going to a woman that's minding her business in the corner that wants nothing to do with him and pestering that woman all night. Like, I don't know what you guys
Exactly.
see in him. I'm sorry. I know that's going to give us so much shit, but he said outright that he doesn't like dark skinned women. Every single Chris Brown super fan that I met has been a dark skinned woman. Oh, I love him. I love him. I love him. Like, he wouldn't even let y'all near him.
He doesn't have them
What's
in
the
his music
love?
videos.
Wouldn't I haven't even seen him touch a dark skinned woman like on
Yeah,
screen.
and Kelly Rowland caping for him, and I'm like, Kelly, you're dark.
Oh,
Like,
she's a bird. That's a tale for another day. She's a
big
bird.
time bird. And it just in general, like, I
Oh,
just
big
want to
women
also,
too.
oh yeah, you see a lot of like bigger girls like, oh, Chris Brown this, Chris Brown that.
That's
He
my
would
husband.
he would not spit on you if he was on fire. I know that for a Fendi fact. And I just want to add, again, just because Rihanna like forgave him for what happened between the two of them, like that's between the two of them. That doesn't absolve him of being an abuser of women. Like, and so when I hate when people say Rihanna moved on, why can't you move on? He didn't move on from beating up women. Like, some of these things on this list happened fairly recently, and those are just the things we know about because these people were brave enough to come forward, or there were witnesses, or there's actual recordings of like him taking women's phones and shit like that. So I really want to put that to rest that oh, Rihanna forgave him. Like there's nothing to forgive if he doesn't stop. Like he's not going to stop. There's no consequences for him. Like the biggest consequence was that he got a 5-year restraining order that now would be over against Karuchi, and he didn't go to jail or anything for it. He shouted her name out in a song that was completely unrelated to her, and has made other songs about her, not mentioning her by name sometimes, but sometimes it does. It's creepy. So
Yeah, and I would say I wouldn't even take Rihanna's like yeah, like I'm not into like complete celebrity worship. I wouldn't like yeah, Rihanna forgave him probably for personal reasons, but just because she Rihanna doesn't mean that like her opinion is like God's opinion or just like a say
right,
all to everything.
but she
Because
has babies by
look who's her baby
ASAP.
daddy.
I
Yeah,
was
look who's her baby daddy. Like he's been wearing that fucking flannel skirt for 10 years. He hasn't changed it at all. And he's also
same
said
skirt.
very derogatory. And he's, you know what I noticed too? She dates a lot of men that said derogatory remarks about dark skinned women. And I just find that she really basks in being the preference. So I don't really take anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's a bird brain too, honestly. Yeah, she's got the fashion and the looks or whatever, but I think she's a bird brain too. So I don't really take anything
Agree.
she says to heart. Sorry. Sorry, Rihanna fans and Chris Brown fans. If that hurt your feelings, well, oh well.
Well, welcome to We Hate Your Baby Daddy.
We'll hit your face too. Get on the truck.
The podcast where we shit on baby daddies, even if it's someone that you're a huge fan of. So sorry about that.
Everybody's fair
Um,
game.
everybody is fair game on We Hate Your Baby Daddy. I just wanted to also add if any of our listeners are victims of domestic violence or, know anybody who's a victim of domestic violence, we're going to provide this in the description of our show, this episode. But we wanted to give out the National Domestic Violence Hotline. This is for the United States. They're open 24/7 in over 200 languages, including English and Spanish. There's interpretation services. The phone number is 800-799-7233. You can also text the word START, START, to 88788, and someone from the National Domestic Violence Hotline will guide you in the right direction. And we wanted to include that because, again, like on this show, we do like, try to keep it light and make a lot of jokes, but what people like Chris Brown do to women is despicable. It's very, very, very wrong. And we want to make sure that the women that listen to this show know that we take domestic violence actually very seriously. So if you are in a situation where you feel like you're in danger, call the hotline, get help, get out of that situation.
Yes.
Well, first we gotta rate him on a scale that we're gonna make up like we do in every single episode of We Hate Your Baby Daddy. How would you rate him, D?
All right. On a scale of, let's see, number one would be a crack pipe, clearly, because we're dealing with a very dangerous crackhead. He's a crackhead. Let's be serious. And number five would be a backwards cap, because we're going to go right back to the crumpin days. Still pretty dangerous. I would say three backwards caps, because that man's a danger.
Wait, is backwards caps worse than crack fight?
Yeah, because the crack keeps him calm.
Does it, or was that what
It
that was
it
the
keeps him calm. No, and I think I think he needs the crack to live now, and I think if he's without it, people get hurt.
so
So
that's when he was going around punching women and stealing phones was when he didn't have the crack. But when he has
yeah,
it, that's when he's chill crack brown. Okay, I get
yeah,
that. I
it's a
agree with that.
paradoxical crackhead thing going on. Once you see them enough, you know how it works.
Paradox. The paradox of the crackhead.
Here we go with crack again, but you know what? We're just going to keep running with this
Dude,
theme and keep,
every episode, why is everybody
it
always
seeps
doing
into our
crack?
lives. It seeps into our lives. Like the next episode that we have is going to be a video episode. I'm just going to be sitting in the back lighting up a pipe, like, yep.
No, we should call it "We Hate Your Crackhead" because that comes up so much. So then Khloe Kardashian, her ex is
Oh,
doing
poor
crack.
Chloe. That's so embarrassing too.
Oh yeah, and he openly admits it. He's like, "Yeah, I was doing crack." What's that guy's name? Lamar Odom. I was doing crack as he's like lighting up. I was doing
I
it back
want to
then. I'm doing
cry.
it
I'm
now
like, why
too.
can't you at least do
Like, no,
coke?
you're a celebrity. Do
Or like at
cocaine.
least, I mean, at least do heroin. They get sympathy. Crack? That's
Krishan
so
doing crack.
embarrassing. Oh, for real.
Have you seen she's been posting lately? Like, I miss Daddy. He's locked up. Like,
Bird.
bird brain.
I mean, that's what her. I'm not gonna say it.
I want to also end this
She has
episode.
nothing behind the eyes.
And a lot of people that we talk about on this show just don't. Like, if you look at Chris Brown, dead behind the eyes. There's
I
nothing
don't like
there.
looking at him. That's why I said they're like, oh, he's so handsome. And they're like, when I first look at somebody, I look at their eyes and I'm just like, oh,
Right.
Jesus Christ. The hell is he thinking about every day? Because it's not something nice.
Like, my Shih Tzu has more expression behind her eyes than Chris Brown does.
And she looks like she wants to call the manager most of the time. So that's quite a statement.
And she just got a haircut, so she really looks like a Karen. She got that blunt bob. I mean, they
She
do a good
is.
job at that
That shit
that
was
place that she
swinging.
goes
I
to.
was like, damn, look at Ripley. When she like turned around at the camera at
It's
you, I was like, holy shit.
like, oh, Bob, hey
She was the Bob was Bob. No, that wasn't a Bob. That was a Robert.
Bob. It was a shark. I want to end this episode on a more positive note, just to say that, if you are in a bad situation with baby daddy, the bad situation doesn't have to last forever. You can choose your own destiny. Like, at the beginning of the episode, obviously you heard our interview with our friend. She chose to stay and make the best out of her situation with her baby daddy, and she is turning it into like a positive life for herself and her daughter. You too, listeners, can turn whatever situation you're in around if you want to. It's all about you and putting in the time and effort and making the changes that you want to see in your own life. And so with that, that is our episode.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. And as I mentioned, you can go buy a t-shirt, a Why Baby Daddy t-shirt on it's a fourth wall. I'm gonna link it. I'm just gonna link it. It's fourth wall dash we hate your baby. It's a whole lot of stuff. I'm just gonna link it. So we have our tote bags and we also have our t-shirts in all bunch of sizes. And where can our listeners follow us on social media?
On social media, you can follow us at WHY Baby Daddy Pod on X and Instagram and TikTok and now Facebook and YouTube.
That's
Did I
right.
cover all bases? Okay.
That is all the bases. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.